Vice versa. The wife says something, the husband retaliates, and then very soon it escalates into something that's far more than what it started with.
Downside to
A
relationship.
negative,
No,
no.
I think it's a plus if you ask me
Yes.
to be able to work with your wife. I think it's amazing.
Communication with each other is important, but communication with God is also very important. The worst thing that a husband can do is speak wrongly, even if he's right. He can speak wrongly about his wife because that reflects on him.
Conversations, discussion helps us to find a way forward. That's why conversation and discussions is paramount. Today I'm speaking to my beautiful lady, my wife Wendy. And as the last time, we are going to play a game. Well, I hope it will work out as a game. We don't know. So we chose a few topics or questions or ideas or things we go through regarding marriage, and we are going to talk about it mostly from our life experience. So, babe, I'm so happy to sit with you today, and let's see how this is going to go.
No problem.
So, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
No, I think you should go first.
Do you think I should
As
go
usual,
first?
yes.
I do have to say, I'm very challenged. It's a lot going on right now. We are working on our podcast studio. It's a lot happening, and
Exciting things.
exciting. On one hand, they're exciting. On the other hand, there is a lot of pressure. Life is happening as well, and I just want to start off with communication. I feel it like honestly, I'm not getting
It's a
through to
good
you.
thing to start. A good
Well,
way.
yeah, but I'm hoping and praying that I'll have a good attitude, and a good attitude, and I am going to position myself rightly and upwardly, so to speak, right? So why is communication so difficult between men and women?
Well, I think they're entirely different. Their brains are figured out differently. I think God made a wonderful job of putting two people together that have absolutely almost nothing in common, don't think the same way,
So we blame God.
and I think He has a laugh. I think
Oh,
God has a laugh.
listen,
Yes.
I'm sure when husband and wife, men and women come together and try to do life together, somebody up there is having a laugh.
Yes.
I mean, God must have a humor. He has humor, yeah. But listen, why am I bringing this up is, especially when there is pressure, when life happens, and there are a lot of things going on at the same time. And I'm talking to you about something. Now, again, I talk a lot. Now, talking is not communication, you know? So, in my understanding, communication is when you talk and the other one understands what you are actually saying. Yeah. So, but I feel like you're not getting what I'm saying. And I'm getting so frustrated. So, yesterday I was looking through some stuff and I'm thinking, man, what am I doing wrong? And watch this. I found this. Many times the root cause of the communication issue is interpretation. You misunderstand what the other person is saying and spend too much time and energy arguing a point your partner never intended. It's a futile exercise. It is therefore essential to take the time to fully comprehend what your partner is trying to say. So I think I was looking, I said, man, you know what I found this on marriage.com. Just looking, so I'm thinking, man, so it's like what I'm saying is misinterpreted by you, or I'm not sure. So what am I doing wrong? You tell me.
No,
Or
it's
am
not.
I doing something?
It's nothing wrong. It's the differences between, well, you and I have an added difficulty, or it's not a difficulty, an added difference, because we We have a different language. So there's the difference, the loss in translation.
Are you saying I am bilingual, so I
Well,
speak
yes.
Romanian and English?
You speak you're bilingual, and I'm a bit bilingual as well. But the sometimes the interpretation of the language is different
Okay.
from what you're far more forthright than we Brits would be, and especially Scottish people. We're not quite as forthright as you would be. Or Romanians, because you're positive. Most Romanians that I meet are very positive and very sure of what they're saying. They're positive. And in Scotland and in Britain, we're not so positive. We seem to...
You mean positive in which way? What do you mean by that?
Well, you just seem to be sure of what you're doing and what you're saying all the time.
Okay.
And so it's deciphering the difference between what you're just talking and what you really mean. And that's a job for a wife to learn.
So you're trying to navigate between what to actually guess what I'm saying, or I'm asking you, or I'm trying to communicate, or is it a guessing game, or what is it?
Sometimes, well, it's a patient game most of the time.
Patient from your side?
Yes, patient from my side, yes. Rabdare. I have to wait until you've said all that you're going to say, then you think about what you've said, and then often you'll come back and you'll say, no, I didn't mean that at all. But if I reacted on the first things that you say every time, you'd probably be dead.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I do have to say, it's so frustrating, and it's unbelievable, because I'm trying to find out what am I saying wrong, what am I not saying, because communication, as I said, is not just talking. Yeah. So am I miscommunicating? Is my communication poor? Am I just making noise and saying nothing really? So it's all of the above, yeah?
All of the above, yes. I couldn't have said it better myself.
So you agree with me? So I'm rubbish?
No, I don't think you're rubbish at all. I think you're in a learning process. And I think if it would be far worse if you didn't talk.
Okay.
And so I have the privilege of at least hearing what you think internally, because you say it externally loud and clear usually. So I've learned to listen, and I don't respond most of the times, because then eventually you come to it yourself. The problem, I think, with younger marriages and younger couples is that the wife then she hits back, and then the husband hits back again.
Why do you say younger?
Escalates.
It doesn't happen to older couples?
It happens to... Well, I didn't want to say that I'm patient. I'm trying not to validate myself as being patient, so that we're working this out because I'm patient. Many couples that we work with, many couples that are in our lives, the wife retaliates because the husband is or vice versa. The wife says something, the husband retaliates, and then very soon it escalates into something that's far more than what it started with. It started with something simple. And I've learned and try to learn and daily ask God to help me to learn just to shut my mouth while you're talking until you come to your own decision, often loudly, and then I realize that the price of having a passionate husband is that he's passionate about most things. So I understand that most of the things that you're talking about, you're passionate about. And so if I can just be quiet enough, hold my own peace while you're speaking loudly about your passion, then it fixes itself without me having to correct you or disagree with you. I just wait until you come to it yourself. But I'm blessed because you do come to it yourself and you realize, oh my, I shouldn't have said that. I'm saying too much. And we've managed to work it out pretty well.
I'm a firm believer in talking. And I do believe couples need to talk. They don't talk enough. They don't spend enough time on their own speaking about stuff. So I'm a firm believer I'm a firm believer in communication, for communication. And one of the reasons many couples split up, divorce is because of lack of communication or
Yes.
poor communication or miscommunication. So I understand that. I mean, I do when I really want to. It's funny how couples function, because if they spend time around the house, they don't talk. You are with your own things, involved in your own things. I'm involved in my own things. So I make a point to take you out. So we go out to, well, for a meal. I take you out for a meal or for coffee, actually, not in the house. Go out for a coffee, to a coffee house or whatever. And we talk. Or especially when we drive through Europe, when you drive in Germany, for example,
Prisoners.
at 180 kilometers miles, 180 kilometers an hour on their free, no limit motorways, no speed limit motorways. Nobody's jumping out of the car, so you can talk about important issues. Yeah, but so I think we need to make time for talking. But this past week, man, I was so frustrated. So I'm thinking, oh man, I'm losing at this game. I'm losing at this game, and I felt so unhappy, honestly.
I think another advantage or disadvantage that we have, and some couples do have, is if they work together, because often a husband is out of the house early in the morning and he doesn't come back till night. So then the wife is maybe working, or she's in the house with the children, or maybe just alone working in the house, because now so many girls and people can work from home. And so it's a far more intricate work life when husband and wife are in the home together, and that's their workplace. Communicating then is more difficult because you're there all the time. And so there's not a break from each other. So anything that you and I do, we do it together most of the time.
Yes.
And so that's something that my mum used to say to me, when James went to work, my first husband went to work, he was gone at 8 a.m. and he didn't come home till 6. And but my father was a preacher, and he was at home a lot of the time. His work was in the evenings or visiting or whatever. And so my mum said to me, living with your dad, living with a husband who's home all the time is a lot more difficult than living with a husband that just goes to work, because then he comes in from his work, and that's but then there's a different set of problems with that, because then you lose communication that way. You come in and the husband doesn't want to talk because he's tired. But I'm trying to learn, and I'm trying to teach as many girls that I can to give the husband space. Give him space till he comes to himself.
It's true. The only time I don't feel like talking is when I'm stressed. So
or angry.
When I'm angry, I don't want to talk because I make things worse.
Yes.
So when I'm angry, I actually go out for a walk, or I go outside. I try to leave the area of tension. Okay.
Yes.
So
and often you're angry just with yourself. I haven't even spoken yet. You can, you actually,
that's true.
You have the conversation, you argue with yourself, then you go outside because you're angry with yourself, and I still haven't spoken.
Yeah, but as you say, because we work together and because we do life together more than other couples, so we do everything together, so there are different set of challenges. But I do like working with you, and I do like doing things together with you and doing life together. So I don't want that. I'm not looking at that as a downside to relationship.
Negative,
No,
no.
I think it's a plus, if you ask me.
Yes.
To be able to work with your wife. I think it's amazing. But when I'm stressed, I don't talk. Otherwise, I talk all the time, and that probably for you it's very hard to take, because I have lots of ideas, and boy, I can talk. Honestly. But when I don't talk, I'm stressed, and you leave me alone, or at least you try.
Well, I've learned, I've come to that. When I was younger, I would have argued more. I would have retaliated more.
Why?
Because I was at that time trying to maybe prove myself, my own value, find my own value.
You wanted to be right?
Well, everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to be right. Nobody wants to be wrong. Mm-hmm. And I would have argued more. But now I've learned just to be quiet And my advice to young girls that come to me and they have maybe an argumentative husband, or they have a husband that's finding himself, don't respond, walk away. And because what happens is you learn patience. I have learned patience, and you realize very quickly that you've hurt me, or you've gone over the score, or that you come to the end of your own argument.
Do you think being quiet is always a good
No.
action?
Well, it depends who's quiet. If you're
Well,
quiet, I know
you
you're
say
sick.
you learn to be quiet.
Well, I have to go inside of myself and I ask God.
Do you think that's always the right action to take, or did you find that was sometimes wrong and you should have said something?
Oh, yes.
Because sometimes I want you to talk.
Well, it depends if I have a space wherewith to talk, because often you talk all the time. And so I have a struggle to even get a word in edgeways, especially if we're with people.
I feel so sorry
But
for
no,
you.
that's okay.
Yeah.
A lot of my communication is done without, when we were young, my mum she never used to say much, but she would look at us with her eyes. And we knew immediately if my mum looked at us with her eyes, there were different kinds of messages that she sent. You just be quiet, close your mouth and walk away. Or in church or anything, she would say, if I look at you, and whenever mum looked at us, we knew just to shut up. If we were being noisy or we were talking, we just realized we got the message. And so there are many ways of communicating. And so, you do learn, but you really have to ask God. It depends if you're out for vengeance. And I'm not out for vengeance.
I'm not out for vengeance.
If you're out for vengeance and you're determined to be right, then you'll argue for longer. But then
I don't think that's the case with our relationship, because I don't want to prove myself right. I don't want to win an argument. I don't want to. No. I'm not sure if I'm more patient now. I hope I am.
Much more patient than you were.
Yeah? Do you think so?
Yes.
What I'm trying to do for you and me is I'm trying to do the best for our marriage rather the best for myself.
Well, you're communicating with lots of young guys and you're talking to them. And I hear you, if I happen to be privileged to be in the hearing space of the conversations, I hear you advising them as we have learned. And I believe that God has used our relationship, which isn't a normal run-of-the-mill relationship, but it's been a relationship of learning. And both of us, we have the common goal that we want to serve God. We have the common goal that divorce is not on the table. And so we have to talk things through.
I hate to take that off the table.
Yes,
because that's, if you ask me, divorce is the easiest way out. So you give up. I'm not a give-upper.
No.
I don't want to give up. I want to fight. Because I think life is about fighting and struggling uphill. So I want to fight and I want to fight for a better marriage. So then, yeah. I want to ask you this. If you were to say, in communication, in my communication with you, what am I doing wrong? What I could improve?
Well, we're in a situation of growing at the moment, and we're learning. We're moving into podcasting and talking on lives. And
I have another question for you. That's different.
But that's bringing its own
yeah.
stress, because it's a totally new experience for us. And so we're in amongst all different kinds of being in front of a camera, making provision for what we're going to say ahead of time. We understand that people are watching us, and it's important what we say is we're communicating well with people, because our job is to help other people, and that's what our goal is. And so this is a growing time, which is an experience that's always going to bring stress, because we're learning new things. You can't do a new job without finding a different bit of pressure. But as long as we come before God all the time, and we do in the mornings, and we seek God in the mornings to show us what to do. Communication with each other is important, but communication with God is also very important. And so all the time we're putting our relationship into God's hands, which is very important. And maybe I wouldn't have been so conscious of that before, but very, very important that we put our relationship.
If I wouldn't start the day with God, because every time when I wake up, like this morning, just before Claudia came, I woke up, I didn't have a good night's sleep, man. I was tried in so many ways. It rained all night, and just I had thoughts and so many things happening. And I forgot what I was going to say.
That's good if you didn't start the morning with
Yeah,
God.
if I didn't, so I come downstairs, made myself a coffee, and I start the day with God. So I read the Bible and pray, and I'm going through the Old Testament right now. But if I wouldn't start the day with God, I don't know where I would be. I mean, that's such an important thing for me and for us. I mean, I don't know how people live life or go through life or go through the challenges of life without God. I don't know.
No.
I mean, if somebody loses their mind, I don't blame them.
No.
I kid you not. I mean, it's life. It's tough. Life is hard. Life is challenging. There is a lot of suffering and pain along the way. And I don't know because we as human beings in ourselves, we are a dead end. We don't lead anywhere. So if some people say the answer is within you, no, it's not.
No.
I don't have answers. I'm a dead end in myself. I always have to look above or to somebody, well, in my case, who created me, to my creator. And that's where the answer lies. And if I wouldn't start the day with God, I mean, I don't know what I would be, where I would be, how worse I would be, how much worse I would be. It's unbelievable. And I'm still bad. I'm getting better. But think about without God. And that's so. So what do you think I should improve? In which way?
I don't think it's a case of looking at what can be improved.
Okay.
I think we're working on things every day. I don't think...
because I want to tell you what you can improve.
Well, that's good. You can tell me what I can improve on. You just have to keep working towards the goal. And the goal is not perfection. The goal is better than you are today.
Yeah.
One day better than you are today.
Yes.
Controlling temper is very important. Being able to control your mouth is very important. So that you don't say things. I don't mean you. I'm talking about in general. So that you don't say things you have to then apologize for later. And that's very important. Speaking down to a woman is not a good thing. I'm not talking about woman's lib stuff here. I'm not talking about any of that because I'm not a woman's libber. But making a woman feel bad about herself. You don't do this, but this is one of the things that I'm talking with some girls about now. It's very important that you don't speak down to a woman. So the husbands
talk down to them?
Well, they belittle. The worst thing that you can do in a marriage is belittle your wife or your husband in company. That's one of the worst things.
That's one way to create hell.
Well,
in a way, but you know what I mean, hell.
Often the trouble is at home, and they can't resolve it at home. So when they're amongst friends, they think they can say things in a laugh, and put it off by laughing. You know, oh yeah, but you, and then they say stuff in front of their husband or wife, and with a group of friends, which could be close friends, but it goes to the girl's or the husband's heart. And that's very, very bad. It's very difficult to come back from hurt in front of people, especially, because then you feel very bad. You feel already there must be something a little bit wrong before you're having this opportunity for the husband or the wife to say stuff about you. And so instead of communicating clearly with each other, you use humor in front of other people. And then
so you say what you really want to say.
Yeah, in a laugh.
In a laugh, but it's not a joke.
No, it's not a joke. And the person you said it about knows it's not a joke because you've already had this either difficulty or this communication. and you repeat it in front of someone.
She knows exactly what you're talking about.
She knows exactly.
Yeah.
And it can make her feel inferior. It can make you feel inferior. And there's a very, very...
If the man does it, doesn't make him look good at all.
No.
He looks like an idiot.
Well, often...
Well, like a child.
The worst thing that a husband can do is speak wrongly. Even if he's right, he can speak wrongly about his wife, because that reflects on him. And it hasn't happened often, but sometimes you've said something about me, something small. And the disappointing thing, it doesn't make me look bad. It makes you look bad, because people love me. And so I'm very glad for that fact that people love me. And so what happens is you look bad. And then that you have to come back from that. And once words are said, you can't repair it, especially if you're a leader. If you're working with people who are following you, I don't mean a pastor, I don't necessarily mean on the platform, but all of us are influencers.
But not only leaders, because we're talking about...
influencers, yes.
Any kind of guy and girl.
Well, anybody that is married with a relationship and that have friends, there are bound to be things that go wrong. Because you can't have two households come together, two different cultures all together, and they live in one house. It can't be all good. It has to have some readjustments. And so the worst thing I would say is for a husband or a wife to laugh off something that's really wrong in front of people without fixing it. You know, it's not...
Don't do it in front of people. Just do it at home. Just do it at home. One thing we do good, and I like this. I mean, if I want heaven, I'm going to build you up, because words are important. With words, we create worlds. So the spoken word, the logos, brings things into being. So what I like to do with you, for example, I like to tell you how beautiful you are. No, because I'm creating heaven. So I'm creating a world I live in. I'm creating the world I live in. So I tell you are beautiful. I tell you you are the best one for me. So I'm building you up. You are the only woman for me. So I'm using that kind of words. I'm sending you texts. I'm starting in the morning. I affirm and confirm.
Yes.
I affirm
You're
and
very
confirm,
good at this.
and I like that. The one sure way to create hell in a relationship is, let's say this: you are never enough for me. No, you whatever
I wish I'd
you
married somebody else.
Or I should have married somebody else. You see, my girlfriend before, man, she was so boy, you are going to create hell.
Yes.
That's not the environment I want to create.
No.
So that's a stupid man talking like that, or a stupid woman if talks like that to her man. So words are important. What we say is very important. We create our world with our words. So yeah, I think that's very important. No wonder some of our friends don't get sex. You know, like, I mean, we talk with guys, you know. So, man, you got to change the way you talk.
Yes, it's very important.
Change the way you talk, man. Change the way you talk, and it's going to happen. A woman will never open up to you if you put her down all the time. Oh, she's never with me. She's never with me. I have to beg her. Well, you'll beg her for the next 25 years if you don't change the way you talk to her, or the way you behave in front of people. She's your queen, man. She's your queen. She's your princess. Never say otherwise.
One of the things that's very noticeable for a woman is a man with hungry eyes.
Okay.
And I think that's a very degrading thing for a wife.
That's another way to communicate with.
Has hungry eyes. There are some men that you're in their company and they have hungry eyes. They just
looking after other women.
They just look, and you can tell right away they've got lustful thoughts or hungry eyes, is what I would say. And that's a very bad feeling for a woman. And with you, I never have that worry.
But I think men struggle with that. Do women struggle with that as well? Do you look after other men?
I think there'll be women with hungry eyes, and that's often because a lack of love and support at home.
How do you detect a woman with hungry eyes?
You can tell her by one flash of the eyes. Just
Okay.
it's an immediate connection.
The way she positions herself
Just-
within the
it's
circle,
just-
within.
You can she doesn't need words. A man doesn't need words. He just connects with your eyes.
And if a man is stupid, and I was stupid many times, I'm honest. I mean, you want to talk to the person who talks to you,
Yes.
and if this new girl is within the circle you are in, whether it's out at the coffee house, Starbucks, whatever, restaurant or whatever, you meet with friends, and if she's really
Attentive,
interested,
yes.
Automatically you respond to that.
Yes.
So I have to be very careful not to respond to that, because automatically you respond to that. You turn to where the attention is.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I like attention. And then
everybody likes
and
attention.
you can fall prey to that.
Everybody.
You
and
know?
there are some people. I heard a story one time. When I was young, we traveled a lot in America, and my father and my brother and my family appeared a lot of times on a show called the PTL Club, and the wife there was Tammy Baker, and she was a lovely girl, but they worked very hard. They had communication. They had programs every day on television. They started at 6:30, and then the one at 7:30. And I mean, the pressure that must have been, even for the wardrobe, changing their clothes. They had about 4 or 5 services every day on TV. Okay. And they were it was an incredible thing. But of course, what happened, the husband became busy in his work, and he was very busy, Jim Baker, and he was in TV all the time. He just went from wardrobe to wardrobe, changing his clothes for another show. And they did baking shows, they did praise and worship shows. I mean, it was a fantastic experience. We were there many times. And I remember hearing Tammy Baker, she's dead now, but I remember hearing her testimony.
Tammy Faye
Baker. And Jim Baker was always on TV. He was always busy with the work of the Lord. Mm-hmm. And you think that's important, but it's not as important as making sure that things are okay at home. And so she would go home at night. Now, they had bodyguards and everything. They were in fear of their lives. Their children were in fear of their lives in school. And she used to go home by herself, leaving her husband in the studio, and her children were in school or somewhere. And so this guy, Gary, I remember hearing the story. She told it herself. He was a pianist in the broadcast, in the TV network. And he would start taking her home, just making sure she was okay, opening the car door for her. And a lady does love attention. Mm-hmm. He would open the car door and he would make sure she was in. He would take her to her house. He would make sure you're sure you're okay now. Call me if you need anything. And I remember she would go into the house and she would flip on the radio, and she used to love country western music. I wonder whose arms
That's the worst
they're in
kind
now.
when you're lonely.
All these kind of songs, who's wearing his ring, whose pillows he's sleeping on tonight. And of course, she went to God at this time, and she was tormented. And she said to God, God, listen, the devil is tormenting me to death. Jim's not able to be with me because he's busy. This boy is taking me home and he's caring for me. And of course, the natural thing happened. They fell in love, and it was a big scandal, and the boy had to leave. And it was a terrible tragedy for the whole family. And she'd say, God, please, the devil's tormenting me. All these songs. And God said to her, no, the devil isn't tormenting you, Tammy Faye. Switch off the radio. And so many times we're listening to the radio that tells us this is not enough. You can do better than this. There's somebody out there that will love you better. You can have more than what you have now. But actually, if we come back to where we've made the mistake, if we can understand. Now, sometimes relationships are just finished. They can't get better. If something major happens, if something major happens, that can't be repaired, if both parties are not interested in making it work, it has to be, both parties have to want to make it work. Mm-hmm. But when both parties want to make it work, they can go back to the beginning and start again. It's very important to have communications open. It's very important to try and keep alive the love that you started with. When children come along, husbands and wives communicate through the children. Tell your dad to do this. Tell your mom to do this. Tell your father his food's on the table. Tell your mom. And, instead of communicating directly, they live through the children. Then very quickly the children move away. They don't go out together. There's no walking in the park holding hands. They're taking all their time just to struggle to live with finances being so tight. And then they discover that they've nothing to talk about. They have an opportunity to go out for a meal and they're both on their phone and they're nothing to say. And that's a very, very sad part of how relationships go.
Communication is the death of passion.
Yes. And we have
lack
to
of
keep
communication.
that open.
Yeah, lack of communication is the death of passion.
When I moved here, I asked you, please, on Mondays, don't answer the phone. I learned this from my brother Neil. He's a pastor in Scotland. And at first, I don't know if he does it now, but always he had Mondays that he spent with his wife and boys. It's very important that you've one designated time. And we started our Mondays for a long time. Mondays, we just stayed in the house. We sat on the couch. We prayed together. And we asked God to do miracles for us, the miracles that we needed ahead, keeping our relationship alive. And those were good days. They're past now because we've moved on from there. But still we try with our hardest endeavours.
I have to say that I don't like to do that.
You don't like to do that?
No. I don't like to pray. I'm serious.
It's
I don't
hard.
like to pray with you.
It's hard.
I don't like to pray with you. I don't like to get together with you to pray because it's such a chore. Sorry.
You're losing your voice. God's making you lose your voice.
It's such a chore. It was always like, oh man, do I have to do this again? But I know it's healthy, and I know I'll do it. Most of the time I do it because you like it or you want it. So I do it for you. So regardless of the reason why I do it for you. But I don't like to do it. Now I like it better than before. And I don't know, because it's such a good thing and you should like it.
But I think
you should like it, but I don't. So I don't know if there is a...
I know that you don't like it because it communicates that sometimes by the amount of times you avoid it. But by the same token, I realize that you're doing it because you appreciate that it's a core value that I have.
Yeah, so yeah, I do it for you, and that's again, yeah. So that's part of communication, part of working together.
Plus, I need to know what you're praying for.
Yeah,
I need to hear what you're asking God for. Mm-hmm. It's not just about what I'm asking God. You need to hear what I'm asking God for. And the best time for that is when I'm praying and when you're praying.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it's important to me. And if couples did that, you can't really get, sometimes, not often, but we've been cross with each other and we've come to the table. But one of the things that we always do when we go to eat, we sit at the table, we hold hands and we pray.
I hate that as well sometimes.
Yes, because...
I'm telling you why.
Because when you're angry with me,
well,
it's
I'm
very
angry
difficult.
with you sometimes, I'm upset and I'm hungry.
Hungry, yes.
And I'm hungry and I want to eat and you want to pray. Mm-hmm. Now, again, don't misunderstand me. I know and I like doing it most of the times. And I am for it. Don't misunderstand. I'm just telling you in the moments I don't like it. I just want to sit down and eat. Now, again, of course, I want to pray and thank God for the food. It's weird because the things that we should like or we should appreciate, we should do, like people think that we should do it just because it's a good thing. Man, you should, my goodness, it's a good thing, we should like it. And when you say don't, even now I'm thinking about it. Should I feel guilty about it that I don't like it? But I'm doing it.
Well, actually, some of the things are a choice.
I choose to do it,
are
yes.
Not a choice. And sitting, thanking God for the food that we have is not a choice. It was never a choice in my mum's home because we always prayed. And even now when our family get together, our extended family, before we eat, we pray. And that's an important value.
Totally agree. No. I'm not saying that. I totally agree with values, principles. I know why we do it. Yes. I'm just still telling you I don't like it.
It's nothing about holiness.
I know. I'm just saying that I don't like it. Like I do it because
tough beans.
I know.
Tough
okay,
beans.
so so this is me with communication. As you see, I struggle. So we'll talk some other time. Okay, your turn.
Do you think that marrying into a different culture is a difficult and dangerous thing, or is it okay?
Marrying in a different culture. What do I think about it? Oh man.
Well, I'll start with what
No, no.
I always...
Yes. No. Just let me think now because
Okay.
you started the ball rolling. So let me
Okay.
think. Is it wrong? I'm not sure I would think about it in terms of right and wrong. I think every couple will have its challenges because of the different backgrounds they're coming from. They all come with a set of baggage. So whatever it's so are we talking about different cultures, different countries? That could be a set of challenges, but then families have their own cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another set of challenges. Yeah, then interracial marriages, interethnic marriages, So I don't know. I think it's to do. Is it right or wrong? I don't think it's right or wrong. I think you gotta choose the burden you want to bear.
Mm-hmm.
So choose your fight. Choose your cross. Well, I don't want to talk, well, I talk about cross in terms of suffering because you will be challenged, however.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in our situation, I am originally from Romania, you are Scottish, so there are challenges, of course. But then somebody grew up in a family, whether it's Romanian or Scottish or whatever, American, and then somebody grew up in a different family from the same country or the same ethnic background or cultural background, yeah, but they are coming from different family backgrounds and they will have challenges because his mom did this and her mom did that, and they are trying to, okay, so what are we eating? Because no, my mom used to do soup in a different way, so I don't like that soup. So poor woman is thinking, what are we doing now?
You don't have that worry with me.
No, but so you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think if everybody has to choose the burden they want to carry, because you will have a burden to carry, and then you will have a fight to fight, and then there will be sacrifices to be made, whichever way you put it. So yeah, I think, yeah, if you wanna, I wanted to be with you and you wanted to be with me, and we married, and then we chose the burden and we chose the challenges, and we are working to solve the challenges. That's what I think about it in at the principle level.
And then we realize that there are differences, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, there are differences.
Because always through my life, my advice to any couple or any young people that I met was never marry outside of your own culture.
I remember that
Always.
actually. I remember hearing
Never
you saying that.
marry out of your own
But
culture.
what do you mean by culture? You mean of a different nationality?
Well, I really meant never marry anybody that you have to go overseas with. And what do you know, Joe? Here I am 16 years later. But the
You
reason
broke
why
your own principle?
I broke my own principle. But the reason, one of the main reasons why, one of the main reasons that it was easier with you, easier for me to marry you, is the fact that you had been in Britain for many years.
Okay.
So you were actually half Britain. Well, you're half British. In fact, you had your British citizenship, but that wouldn't have done it. The fact was that you knew. I mean, we don't eat very
You mean
much
I
Romanian
understood
food.
the culture?
Yes, you
Or
understood. You'd adapted yourself
I
into
was
the culture,
naturalized.
and so that made it easier for me rather than just coming over here and marrying someone who just doesn't understand anything about me. It made it easier, but I'm still not sure. The cultures of different families are, but every culture, every family has a different culture. Every family. I hear my girls talking almost the same way as they were brought up. When I was married to James, I remember, well, when I was courting James, I remember going to one of his family's house, and his sister had a drawer full of chocolate biscuits.
Oh.
Full, a whole drawer full of every kind, chocolate biscuits, Penguins, Kit Kats, all the chocolate biscuits. And her children just used to go in and eat the chocolate biscuits. And I remember saying to James, my children will never take a biscuit out of one of the drawers in my house without asking. Because my mum, we never took anything out of my mum's fridge. Is it okay if we have a drink of milk? Is it okay if we have a drink? And James, I remember James saying to me, none of my children will ever have to ask. They can eat anything that I have. It's at my pleasure. They can have it. Now, that's true. That's a true statement.
So do you think that created a tension between you and him?
No, not really, because my children just never, ever took stuff without asking.
Okay.
Because that was
So who had more influence?
culture. Well, the mother usually has the more influence because I was in the house. But we never went into my mum's handbag. Ever. We never, if my mum said, give me my bag, go in. No, we never. We carried the bag in its entirety to my mum. She gave us anything out of the bag. We never, ever, my girls would never go into my handbag. It's a cultural, it was our family culture. Other people.
I don't like going into your handbag.
No.
You sometimes you send me and say, would you bring me that? And I said, I'll bring you the handbag. I will never look into your handbag. I never liked looking in people's handbags, especially ladies.
But I never went into your wallet either.
Yeah.
Because that's just not what we did. But it's a principle is what I'm trying to say, not about the handbag. It just means that
it's
different families have different cultures.
Different cultures,
that was a simple one.
Yeah.
No chocolate biscuits for my kids.
No, so, but I think it's good to ask, though.
Yes.
But then again, if somebody would go into their cupboards to take anything, it's at home. So some people will say, why should they ask when they are at home? It's theirs anyway.
Yes, but I think it's important to ask.
So you teach them being polite?
No, just
not being entitled?
I think it's good to know if you go into the drawer and all the biscuits are done. I used to say. And what happens if they just continually eat the biscuits and then when some visitors come in and you go to give them biscuits and everything's finished? Because children can eat a lot of chocolate biscuits. It's a small thing, but it was just something that my mum taught us. Don't take anything. Not that she didn't grudge us anything. We could have anything, but we always asked.
Okay.
And that was just a different culture. I'm not sure what your mum did to you.
Well, we didn't
she
have
taught
much.
you to cook.
No, we didn't have much to eat when we grew up. Actually, we were 6 kids, 4 sisters, 2 brothers, me and my brother. So there wasn't an issue with food because when we had it, it was divided.
No, but with your family, I recall now, it's cloths. Cloths. It's this cloth is for the table, and that cloth is for the windows, and this cloth is for the floor. And this cloth is for the dishes.
Okay.
And this cloth is for the toilet.
Every family
and
has its own
cloth,
culture. Yes.
And so it's the cloths.
Yeah.
It's with the cloths.
Yeah.
I can't use the Ajax in the shower because you've got to use this kind of spray and you've got to use that kind of spray. And so it's
you wouldn't use a sponge used in the shower to wash the dishes in the
No, but I just had a recall.
Kitchen.
I had a quick recall about the cloths.
Okay, let's move on. Boredom. I want to talk a little bit about boredom.
Okay.
Because they say that people that have been married for a long time, the danger for that is that boredom can set in. Yeah. So this year we are going to celebrate 16 years of marriage. 16 years. I mean, honestly, I never thought I'd last 5 or 10.
Only by my grace.
Exactly.
Not
so
grace
16 years, that's a lot of years of marriage. And actually, I read somewhere that boredom is a common problem in long-term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So are we considered a long-term relationship, 16 years?
Well, we're getting there.
By today's standards?
I think we're getting there. Mm-hmm.
And are we getting bored? Why am I saying that? Because they say that in order to spice up things in the relationship, you have to do something new, start traveling or do new things together, So is this the reason we started a podcast together, a marriage podcast? Are we getting bored?
Oh, no.
Are we trying to spice things up?
No.
Are we trying to do new things together?
No, none of these. Well, we're doing new things together all the time, but I think our common desire.
Are we getting bored?
No, well, I'm not bored at all. I don't know about you.
I'm just
not at all
asking
bored.
you.
Are you bored? Bored.
Am I bored? No, I'm not. No, because I slept 4 hours last night, and I'm tired, and I'm looking forward for this podcast studio to be finished, that we don't have to set up things anymore and to have everything ready. I'm looking forward to settle in the new season of our life. So I'm not bored.
Well,
Too many
this
things
is how
happening.
I'm looking at it.
Okay.
My house is in a turmoil. Everything in my house is upside down. The whole of the office is in the hallway and on the staircase, so I can hardly get upstairs. And I've used your office as a store. So all the things that I've stored...
I didn't like that, by the way.
All the things that I've stored for years in your office are now exposed, and I have to find another place. But yesterday, it came right over my heart and my head. Just think of the privilege.
Okay.
We're living this journey.
Mm-hmm.
We're walking through this experience together. And what an incredible, how many people would give all that they had just to be doing what we're doing. And a sweep of thankfulness. As I was stepping through the mess, the dust, because you're painting the studio and you're doing it with plaster. And of course, I said to you, make sure you cover everything with plastic, not to get...
I did.
I just cleaned my house.
I did.
And I didn't want the dust to be all through
Our
everything.
House. Our house.
And so, but I had a sweep came over me of gratitude.
Okay.
And I think you have to keep the gratitude going in your heart. You have to look for the things that are positive. You have to realize just how incredible it is to still have another opportunity to do something new. Just to be able to be alive today. So many people are not having that comfort. And so, no, I don't feel bored at all. Every day is a new day. Every day we're doing something new. We're preparing for podcasts. We're investing in communications.
So you're not bored, huh?
No, I'm not bored at all.
When I was looking for this and I was reading a little bit, and when I heard what others are saying about it, I thought, man, it is a sign of us being bored because we are doing new things together. But the truth of the matter is I don't get bored because we're always doing new things. So whenever we settle or whenever we finish a season, we try to move on to other things. Like, for example, I stopped to pastor the church about 4 years ago. In September will be 4 years. And the question that really troubled me was, okay, is this all that I am? A pastor, so all the gifting, everything you've put in me had to be or can manifest or realize itself through the role of a pastor. And I said, God, is there anything else in me? Or is there another way for the gifting, the calling, to be realized or manifested in another way? And this is another way, podcasting or moving online and talking, because really my gifting is not preaching. My gifting is talking. I can talk. I love to talk.
The ultimate goal of the talking is what?
Good. Talking.
It's not talking for talking's sake.
No, but the reason I talk to you and to anybody really, because conversation help us see things through, help us to see things clearer, help us to find answers. Conversations, discussion helps us to find a way forward. That's why conversation and discussions is paramount. Because so my desire is that the conversation will continue always.
But it's
because
conversation
otherwise
to
we
help
get
other people.
First and foremost to help myself. Honestly, I'm selfish, and then as I help myself, and you and me see the way forward, then we can help others. If we, what are we gonna do if I cannot see the way forward? It's like blind lead the blind. How can I help anybody else if I can't see the way forward? How can we help anybody else if you and I can't see the way forward? If you and I can't see things clearer? And that's what discussion does. And conversation. So that's, to me, okay, if I love talking, may as well put it to use.
Yes.
And use it
Constructively.
in a constructive manner. Yes. So no, I'm not bored. No, I'm not bored because you don't give me the chance to get bored. Although I would love to just sit,
That's boring.
It is boring, but man loves to sit. Wendy,
Not on my
we
watch.
love moments to do nothing.
There are plenty of them.
Yeah, but
You can sit in the toilet.
Every time I talk
Nobody
to my
stops you.
friends, the guys are looking forward to moments when they want to do nothing, just nothing, just nothing.
Such a waste of precious time.
Is it?
Indeed.
Well, I think I just want to wrap it up for today. It's good. I really enjoyed this discussion with you, babe. If you enjoy this kind of content, please, or if you would like us to talk about something else, please leave a comment in the comment section. If you like what we do, my wife and I, just like it, share it, and subscribe to our channel as well. And until the next time, have a great day wherever you are. Bye-bye from us.
Bye-bye.